Guys, I'm on a couch. I think it's time for some takes. What's up, sports fans? Welcome to Takes from the Couch. I'm your host, Josh Fry. And today, as you can probably see from the title, thumbnail, everything else, we're going to be talking about a little bit of NFL playoffs. Going through my predictions for this postseason in the NFL. 2021 was definitely a wild ride. We had some weird games all the way down to the very last game of the regular season between the Raiders and the Chargers. I don't know how many of you guys were rooting for a tie in that one, but obviously we didn't end up getting it. Raiders get that final playoff spot with the Steelers. Chargers are out because of that last-minute field goal. But yeah, Takes from the Couch. This is going to be a series. You might have seen a couple videos on my old personal channel that I did over there. Very inconsistent, but hopefully as I continue to get into a routine here, I'm going to hopefully be getting out some weekly videos for you guys, at least, at the very minimum, weekly videos. But yeah, I just figured Takes from the Couch, really laid back style. Just talking about the sports that we're all watching on TV from our couches, and I figured I'd give you my takes from the couch. So here we go. First game of this weekend, it's got those Las Vegas Raiders, that team that barely snuck into the playoffs because of a last-second field goal. I mean, I guess they would have been in either way, but I mean, it kind of still feels like they snuck their way in somehow. They're going up against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincy. 4:30 Eastern Saturday. Raiders, they're just they're the Freddy Krueger of the NFL, man. Every time you think they're dead, they just keep on coming right back. Derek Carr at quarterback, he's led that team this entire season. Max Crosby on that defensive line, just been an absolute stud for them all year. But they're running into an offensive buzzsaw that has been the Cincinnati Bengals for pretty much this entire year. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase have been an absolute dynamic duo with the quarterback and wide receiver positions. I really think the Bengals are going to win this game, but I'm looking at some spreads here just for betting wise. If you happen to be gambling people, the spread for this one is kind of wide. It's plus 5.5 for the Raiders, minus 5.5 Bengals. I think this game's gonna be closer than that. I think the Bengals' offensive line definitely has its weak points. I think the Raiders are gonna be able to take advantage of that, and I think this is gonna be a close game throughout. I think the Bengals end up pulling it out at the end, though. All right, next up we got the New England Patriots going against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Saturday night. I think weather forecast for that game says like negative 30-degree wind chills or something. Yeah, last time these two teams played in these type of conditions, it was smash mouth football all the way. Mac Jones threw only 3 passes in that game, but the Patriots still ended up getting a win. I'm thinking the same sort of things gonna be happening in this one, assuming that the weather is, as predicted, pretty terrible. Super windy, super cold, maybe some snow. I think the Patriots are gonna pull up an upset. They're gonna go into Buffalo and they're gonna knock off the AFC East champs. I mean, obviously Josh Allen's just had a great year for these Buffalo Bills. Cooled off a little bit towards the second half of the year after a torrential start for him. But I mean, this defense is still really good. I think, again, this is probably going to be some smash mouth football. The Bills will definitely put up a fight in this one because of that defense and because of Josh Allen's ability to run and their willingness to run him. But in the end, it's hard for me to bet against Bill Belichick, man, especially coming in the playoffs. I know rookie QB, you might have some questions with that, but I'm still leaning Patriots here. All right, now into the Sunday games. Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern, we got the Philadelphia Eagles going into Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers. Again, this feels kind of like this is going to be a bit of a closer game than people are thinking. The Eagles, that team's been feisty pretty much this entire second half of the year. They got off to a really rough start, But, I mean, Jalen Hurts has really found himself as a quarterback. Not even really as a quarterback. I mean, this team's just figured out how to use him as a dual threat more than anything else. I mean, I still don't think he's anything special throwing the ball, especially if you force him to do it too often. But when you put the ball in his hands and let him just go to work as a runner, the dude's incredible to watch. Not on a Lamar Jackson level, but it's definitely like the tier right below that. And I mean, Tampa Bay, they're a banged up football team. Last year they got the benefit of not really having to go through any of those injury struggles, but this year has not been the same for them. And I think this is going to be a close game. I mean, pretty similar to, honestly, last year for Tampa Bay when they had to go up against the Washington football team, another NFC East team that likes to play some really physical ball. I think this game's going to be a little bit closer, but Tampa Bay pulls it out in the end. All right, the second game for Sunday afternoon, we got the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. Honestly, the 49ers are probably the scariest team to play out of any of these wild card teams right now, especially in the NFC. I mean, Deebo Samuel, you have to have at least 2 or 3 guys watching him on defense on all times because he's always a threat to do something crazy, whether he's running the ball, catching the ball, or even throwing the ball, apparently. Jimmy Garoppolo played one of his better games he's played all season last week against the Rams, and it's just a really tough team to play right now. They're on a hot streak. I think they go into Dallas. I think they pull off a shocker. I think they win this game in Dallas, and they're moving on to the divisional round. Okay, and the final game on Sunday, 8:15 Eastern, the Pittsburgh Steelers going into Kansas City against the Chiefs. This is probably the least interesting game out of all of these wild card games, at least in my opinion. I really have no desire to watch Big Ben go out there and throw 5-yard checkdowns the entire game and limp off the field with another blowout playoff loss. Yeah, I kind of had enough of that last year and the year before. Not really thrilled to have to do it again. Would have much rather had the Chargers in there instead. But thanks, Raiders. You had to ruin that chance for us. But, I mean, what can you say? Patrick Mahomes, I think he leads the Chiefs to a victory here. Nothing much else to say other than that. All right, and then the final wild card game. New thing for the NFL this year. They've got a Monday night playoff game. 8:15 Eastern. Arizona's going to LA to take on the Rams. Again, this is kind of a toss-up for me as well. These are two teams that have kind of had ups and downs throughout the year. They've had stretches where they play really good football and other stretches where they don't play so good football. At the end of the day, though, I think the LA Rams, they've just got the Cardinals number at this point. It's kind of hard to go against them in this situation. They're at home in a playoff game. And yeah, Kenyon Drake, he's not going to be playing in this game either for the Cardinals. Huge loss for them at the running back position. Puts a lot more pressure on Kyler Murray to win this game. And honestly, in the battle between Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury, I'm not going against Sean McVay. Rams move on. All right, now on to the divisional round. First matchup I've got here is going to be Tampa Bay hosting the LA Rams. Tom Brady gets to face his old Super Bowl opponents from a few years back. Honestly, it's probably going to be a lot like that Super Bowl in this game. I think there's not going to be a ton of offense in this matchup. I think defenses are going to reign supreme. These two teams are crazy good up front. Their secondaries aren't too shabby either. But at the end of the day, I think Tom Brady's going to lead another fourth quarter, late drive. I've seen it time and time again throughout his entire career. And I think old Tampa Bay is going to move on to the conference championship. Next up in the NFC, we've got the Green Bay Packers hosting the San Francisco 49ers. An NFC championship matchup from a few years back. Honestly, a lot of the same guys are on these teams as well from that game. At the end of the day, Green Bay is going to be super rested. They played their starters for like a half against Detroit, and then they kind of just let Detroit do whatever they wanted for that for the rest of that game. They pulled away and got the win. But yeah, Green Bay is going to be coming off essentially 2 weeks rest here. Well, actually closer to 3 weeks rest. And 49ers have had, basically, they've had playoff games the last 2 weeks going into this game. So I'm going to take Green Bay. They're going to move on. They're going to have a rematch of the 2020 NFC Championship. Okay, moving on to the AFC side of the bracket. First game's going to be the Tennessee Titans taking on the New England Patriots. Yeah, this is a recent playoff matchup. I don't know. This is kind of crazy how this shaped out this way. If Derrick Henry especially is back, this game it favors the Titans. I don't really like what I saw out of New England these past few weeks of the regular season. I don't know. It kind of changed my opinion on them as a Super Bowl contender, and I definitely think they're going to be able to pull off at least one playoff win, but getting a second, it might be a little tougher than I originally thought it would be. I'm going to move on Tennessee. All right, and then last up for the divisional round, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. This one kind of feels like a shootout, doesn't it? Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. Seems like a classic playoff matchup that we've been waiting for between these two quarterbacks ever since Joe Burrow got drafted in 2020. But Cincinnati's going to give Kansas City everything that they can handle. And honestly, I want to pick Cincinnati so bad in this game, but I got to go with my gut. I'm going Kansas City. I'm trusting Patrick Mahomes to lead this team once again. Kansas City's moving on to another AFC Championship game. Moving on to the Conference Championship week. Pretty familiar compared to last year. Yeah, you got Green Bay hosting Tampa Bay on the NFC side, same as last year. And this time, I think things go a little bit differently. Fifth time's the charm for the Green Bay Packers and for Aaron Rodgers. They will finally make it back to a Super Bowl. I think it's about their time to finally get in there. You had to think that at least one of these years they're going to actually pull this off. So yeah, I'm moving Green Bay on. Tampa Bay season is over after the conference championship. And then on to the AFC side of things, you got Tennessee hosting Kansas City. Yeah, it's pretty much been chalk for me going into this conference championship. Nothing too crazy has happened. And technically, this time it's going to be chalk as well, but probably not what everybody's thinking is going to be chalk. I don't know. Derrick Henry returning to this Tennessee Titans team. Ryan Tannehill, he's about as good as a game manager at quarterback as you're going to get. A.J. Brown at wide receiver. I mean, honestly, this team has got the weapons. It's got the tools to get this done. Playoff football is physical football, and Derrick Henry is built for that physical football. The Tennessee Titans are going on to the Super Bowl to face the Green Bay Packers. All right, and then in that Super Bowl, Tennessee versus Green Bay. Honestly, this might be a pretty boring Super Bowl. The NFC... Here's the thing. The NFC is just so much better than the AFC this year. It's like not even close. We could have 3 or 4 teams from the NFC that could probably beat any team in the AFC on any given week. I mean, it's that up in the air, the AFC, and then the NFC, it's honestly just a powerhouse conference right now. But as you can probably tell, I'm picking Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers will win their second Super Bowl of his tenure. Who knows if it's the last year? But yeah, if nothing else, they're going to go off on a high note and they're going to ride off into the sunset. And maybe we'll be seeing Aaron Rodgers donning the Denver Broncos uniform next year. But yeah, that's it. That's my NFL playoff predictions. Whole thing from the wild card all the way up to the Super Bowl. Obviously, that probably means none of this is going to happen. Tennessee is probably going to now lose in the divisional round. So, yeah. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. But, yeah, before I go, though, I have to also rep the brand, purpleptsd.com. Go check out my written stuff. If you enjoy this video, you'll enjoy my writing as well. purpleptsd.com, as well as vikingsterritory.com. All things Minnesota Vikings, NFL draft, general NFL news. I'm there, I'm covering it with that team. Great group of people, great writing, just all sorts of great NFL content over there. So make sure to check it out. But yeah, that's all I got for this video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know, I've probably mentioned it 3 or 4 times by now in this video, but it definitely helps me out. But yeah, until next time, see y'all later.